Hey everybody, today we're going to make the project that I have in front of me. It is an A5 traveler's notebook with a fabric cover, some metal pieces, filigree, some charms, some book corners, okay? And here is my spine. I have a dangling charm with a real pretty bow, a key, a metal piece like in the middle. I have dyed all of these elastic cords. There's eyelets for everything, single thing. On the back, I have 2 beads that are holding my elastics for my closure here. And I have went ahead and made like a basic knot inside that I can undo so that this can be longer for as this grows. And as you can see, there are 8 inserts inside of this A5 traveler's notebook. In future videos, we'll decorate the covers of these booklets. I got these at Walmart for $1, and we'll put in some pockets. We'll be adding some envelopes and tags and things, all kinds of goodies to these notebooks. But if you want to see how I put together this project, I believe it's going to be shown in 2 parts. So just stay tuned for part 1. Actually gonna be filming this video in 2 like in different orders, so I haven't made the project yet. I believe at the beginning of this video you're gonna see the project we're gonna make. So the things that I'm going to get started with is we're going to be starting with 2 pieces of chipboard. Okay, you're gonna need 2 pieces of chipboard for the front and the back of this journal, and then I want to be able to add like a whole bunch of notebooks into the center here. Instead of just like your usual 4 notebooks, I would like to be able to hold at least 6 notebooks in the middle without having to worry about the spine not being wide enough. So this piece right here, the spine needs to be 3 by 9. Okay, and these need to be, I believe I have the measurements. Nope, I don't, but they are 6.5 by 9. So let me go ahead and write that for those who are watching the video. Let's see. Oh, I'm just going to use an ink pen because it doesn't matter. It's going to be covered up anyway. So this is 6.5 by 9, 6.5 by 9, and then you need a 3 by 9. And the reason why is, as you can see, I got these notebooks for literally $1 at Walmart. There's only 30 sheets, and these are perfectly A5 sized. But if I add a little bit more extra room around the edges, when I replace the notebooks, if they're a little bit larger, kind of like the Erin Condren notebooks and things like that, the premise is they should still fit. So that's why I chose to do them in this size. So I do not wish to use cardstock to cover my chipboard. Now I am going to be using fabric, but I do not sew, so I will show you how I get around that and totally cheat. But I do want to show you tie back. I'm going to be using tie back so I don't have to worry about perfectly scoring and centering and all that, kind of like you do with mini albums. So basically with tie back, you absolutely have to use double-sided tape. It will not want to stick with glue. So you can literally get these boogers super close. You can butt them up and you put your other piece of tie back. I'm using way more tie back than what I need. Okay, and it just adds stability to the creases, you know, of where your journal is going to go. I'm actually going to probably cut these down and not waste so much, but you can literally butt them up. So once you have adhered the tie back, and tie back is like on those FedEx mailers, the kind of paper that you can't rip. It has like fibers and stuff in it, more like fabric. So I will double side tape these to the chipboard, and that way the chipboard's actually going to fold in. So when I pick it up, the book will fold in this way instead of up. Okay, so those are pretty much the only supplies that I need at this moment for the actual spines. So like I said, you need You will need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 chipboard, cut them down to 6.5 by 9, and then your spine can be as small as you want, but I want a 3-inch spine. So I did purchase 4 of these notebooks from Walmart. So I have them ready to rock and roll, and these I will cover with patterned paper. And then for my cover, I actually want this 1 yard of fabric I purchased at Walmart. So, and I like it because it is faith-based, and this is probably where I'm going to house a lot of my studies while I am working on it. So I didn't want it very specific, like a gratitude or the Advent or whatever have you. I wanted these really pretty crosses in different colors with some flowers that say joy, love, and hope, and blessed. And it just repeats those words across the fabric, and it is 1 yard of this fabric. It's already pre-cut, packaged at Walmart, good to go. So I got my notebooks there. I got my I got my notebooks and the fabric, and I also got, this is how I'm gonna cheat. I know y'all gonna think I'm funny, but I do not sew, so I picked up a package of heat and bond, and I will show you exactly how I'm gonna cover this chipboard with fabric with the heat and bond. The other thing I picked up is also at Walmart. There's actually 2 things. I picked up an awl. It's to help me punch my holes in case people do not have, you know, the eyelet setters or the crocodiles or things like that. You can definitely use this. It will help. Let's see. I use this iron right here. It's small. It's just the right size for my hands. I purchased this at Walmart a long time ago. And when I was there on Sunday, I checked and they do still sell it. And then while I was there, I went into the craft department and I picked up these 3 items right here. I think this was $2, $1.50, and $1, I think. It's really close to those prices. So it is just a smaller, like, lace trim flower, a larger one, then this really pretty flower right here, and this bow. And I'm going to be putting them onto the journal cover, but I'm going to be using my Stampin' Up! Ink in Blueberry Bliss and watering it down because there are these really pretty purple flowers in here. And since the words and the outlines and some of the crosses, there's a lot of gold and yellow, I just really want to accent some of this purple. I want to kind of like ink them up my own kind of color. And when I get to that part, I will definitely show it. So the things I pulled from my stash are, of course, elastic cording, and I will be dyeing this as well to that purple color. I have some brads that are in my stash that I wanted to use. For decorating the outside of the journal cover, I pulled a lot of bronze, metal pieces. Here's some more brads. I got a key, a dragonfly that's bends already into the shape. I got another key with a crown, which I definitely know I'm going to be using. Another metal piece. I may be putting this right here along the spine of the journal cover. And I was thinking I could even sew it to where it could dangle from this bow, is what I'm thinking. And then, of course, I definitely want to put some corners onto my journal. I think I want to attach this charm to this piece of jewelry right here. And I believe I got this from Hobby Lobby, guys. I believe there was 2 of these and another piece, and they came together in a set from Hobby Lobby. I have a door pull in case I want it. If I want to dangle my bow, I have one of these brads with a hook on it so that I can do it like a jump ring. Here's some more that I might attach along with there. I have some more keys in different sizes. Woo. God, I'm kind of going everywhere. I just pulled a lot. I may not use all of these items. I definitely won't. But I definitely wanted my corner pieces for my journal cover. And I know I've got the other one, yeah, like right here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put down my craft mats. And it's well loved, so it's probably going to look very icky on camera. And I'm going to use my 1-inch double-sided tape to completely cover end to end. Get really good coverage on this booger because this is going to hold the bulk, you know, of all the weight for this journal cover. And I do go over and then just trim it right. Okay. And what I'm going to do is just take my little scraper, whoops, and just get it right. Alright. And I'm not worried about that little strip in the middle. I just said end-to-end coverage. Honestly, I'm not worried about that little strip in the middle because it's not a big deal. It's really not. Okay, so I have this one ready to rock and roll, and I just need to get my scissors in just a second. Actually, I have my titanium scissors right here. Okay. So let's use my little trash can for what it's worth. Okay. And we're just going to put this one right on here. There are lots of crafts that I wish to do on this channel. I will be doing several different types of journals this coming year. I'm really into not so many more different types of planners for kits. I am really into just grabbing a notebook, making a project with it, and that's where I put my stickers and everything. Now my weekly planners, I do want real planners, but there are a lot of people that love to set up their weekly in just a notebook, and so I'm wanting to offer lots of items for those people that like to do that, because I think it would be super cool. Alright, so let me get my pajama sleeves. You guys, it's so cold tonight. It's so cold. And I don't feel well. So I'm like, how is a good way to spend my evening? Because I can't sleep. I just, anxiety still from the hurricane. I don't sleep very well these days. So at the moment, I'm just, you know, I'm like, I need something to keep me busy. So basically, okay, like, sorry about that, guys. I had made a boo-boo and I was wrong. You're gonna need 4 pieces of tie back. Now I cut mine to 2 1/4 by 9 so that they will go on the spine. I had did it wrong the first go round. I had to rip it up. So let's start again. Okay. First thing we're gonna do is take the backing off of my tie back. And where's my little tool? Here it is. So we're gonna take the backing off of one side, right? Now I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. Oof. Oops. I'm basically just going to line this up and set it down. Okay, so I'm gonna burnish it on this side. Okay, I'm gonna burnish it very well. And I'm not worried about, there's like a teeny bit of tie back hanging over. I'm not really worried about that. Fabric is gonna take care of it, and it did meet it edge to edge. We can trim that up in a minute if I need to. So I'm gonna lay a piece of chipboard right in between these before I lay down my spine. You do that on one side, and then the other side, you just butt it up. I'm pretty sure that's the way it goes. It's, like I said, it has been a while since I've done it. Okay, so you want a chipboard length in between the two. Then you want to take your spine and literally put it butted up. We're gonna actually do that on both sides. Just leave a tiny bit of space. Okay. Oops. Not worried about that. That I can take out. That's just the seam of where it was on the envelope. So I am just gonna go ahead and pull these up and lay my other piece of tie back right here. So that way I've got the spine and the front cover done. So like I said, I'm just gonna pull it up. And I've got it super secured because I need to write the words back. Here we go, because I just want the back cover super, super secure. It's usually where it like takes the most beating. Okay, so I'm just gonna get it like right at the edge. Come straight down, and there we go. So that way when it folds, you see, it'll fold nice front and back, front and back. That's why you leave a chipboard length worth of space in between it. Okay, so it doesn't have to go all the way. So this would be the inside, because definitely it's going to fold at a 90-degree angle. But when we flip it over, you see it'll still do it. So I definitely want this to be the back and this to be the inside. And don't worry about all this. Like I said, I will trim it up and make it super, super nice. All you would basically do is take your scissors and just cut your tie back even if that was bothering you. Because when you go to line it with paper and stuff, it could cause a problem. It could cause a buckle, an extra wrinkle, a crease. And it's not something you want. So the best thing is just get rid of it like I just did. Super trim. Just a super easy little trim. Okay, so we are working on, this is the back side, so this is the inside. So I'm going to take this right here, and I'm going to just, like I said, I'm going to cover the double-sided tape. I do have a little bit of space here that's not covered in double-sided tape. Just gonna go end to end. There we go. Alright. And I do have this little piece that I was using for the buckle. That's gonna be my little, you know, spacer, because it's the same width as the other chipboard. Take the backing off of this piece of tie back. I'm going to lay my spacer down, make sure it doesn't get in this double-sided tape, and I'm just going to butt this up, even top and bottom. Ooh. Okay, well that was in the way. So there we go. And then I'm just going to burnish it down. Excuse me. I'm going to do like this. Make sure the tie back's on there very nice. I'm going to remove the double-sided tape on the chipboard. Okay. Put that in my little trash container. I'm going to remove it from the tie back. See, when you burnish it really well, it'll just peel off. You won't even need a little tool to help you. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to put the tie back to the very, very tippy top, covering up the double-sided tape. And if we have to, we will trim yet again. Okay, so we're going to burnish it down. Okay. And so I want this to be the back cover, so I want this to do a 90-degree turn. See what I mean? The tie back is much more secure than a paper hinge. For those who know how to make mini albums and things like that, tie back is just literally gonna hold up no matter what, because it is very hard to tear. I mean, I have a piece of tie back right here. You cannot tear it. You can wrinkle the crap out of it, but you cannot tear it. So that's why you want tie back, especially when you have such a large spine. Okay, so for the next part of this, what we need to do, let me smush my trash down, is I'm going to be cutting the Ultra Bond. Now it is double-sided, so for those who don't know, it's just an iron-on adhesive. So let's go ahead and open this up. Okay. And basically, it comes in sheets, so you don't even have to use very much. And what I am going to do, y'all are gonna laugh, I'm gonna go ahead and start setting up my little iron here. Okay, I'm gonna let it go ahead and start getting hot. Just plug this booger in. I'm gonna just sit it over here for a second. Okay, let it start getting hot. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at this and make sure that it is, oh yeah, it's more than enough room. I don't even need the whole thing. Okay, so basically what you do is you're gonna, well, let's see, let's work with it in pieces that are manageable. How about that? Oh my gosh, look at that, y'all. For this project, I can literally cut across the seam in 2 spots and start working. So let me pause the video and cut this directly down the seam, and we'll get right back to it. Okay, as you can see, I cut the Ultra Bond heat and bond paper to be, you know, oh my gosh, 16 by 9, okay? Because that's the measurements of both the front and back cover and the spine. I have my little iron heated up, and so basically all I'm going to do is start applying the heat to the heat and bond. I am going to literally iron my cardboard, and don't be scared to do so. I mean, seriously, this is exactly what I am wanting. You could use those giant rolls of double-sided tape. It would work in much the same way. But this is literally the way I choose to do it when I do fabric. I like this idea. And basically, I just iron down my heat and bond, and then I remove the paper. I cut my fabric, lay it completely down, and then I iron it. And that way, it will adhere the fabric straight to the cardboard. Easy peasy, no mess, no glue waiting to dry, and you know, I just think this is the easiest way for me when I do it. So this is the way I like to work with fabric, because like I said, I do not know how to sew. So let me go ahead and get that on my board so I make sure I get good coverage on there. And I know a lot of people get very nervous about, you know, ironing over their tie back, but trust me, it works. I've done it, I don't know how many times. So, yeah. Alright, so let's see if it is ready. I will be using that little tool to help lift the paper to make sure it's good to go. Sometimes you have to go a lot longer than what you think. Alright, come on. I just need a piece of it to start lifting up. There we go. And as you can see, here's the sticky. It is ready to rock and roll. Let's go ahead and pull this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually off camera iron my entire piece of fabric, get the wrinkles out of it. And then I will come back and we will do the next step. I'll cut it down to the size I need for the front. I am not overlapping it in any portion. And as you can see the heat and bond, you see the shine on it, it's on there. So like I said, I'm gonna take my fabric and I'm gonna iron out all the wrinkles with the big iron on my ironing board. And I'm gonna cut it down to the size I need, and then we're gonna, you know, adhere it here with this little iron. So I'll be right back. Okay, my friends, so I figured it was probably best to go get one of my dish towels and put it in here. And yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this back over here, okay? And you see how it's wanting to get a little bit tighter on that tie back, which is perfectly fine. It's literally what I'm wanting. I have this cut roughly, and I say roughly very nicely because it's pretty much the way I want it. So, alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start ironing this on, and then I will use scissors to trim it to the exact way I need it to be. So basically we're just gonna do exactly what we did to get the heat and bond down, except this time we're really gonna iron for a while because we wanna make sure that this fabric definitely adheres. You can definitely use Fabri-Tac. Fabri-Tac is wonderful to get things on. I'm not worried about this, my friends. I am going to be putting elements all over the front of my journal. It's going to be very bulky, very three-dimensional. And those, the easiest thing to do would probably be to paint your chipboard a solid color so that this tie back wouldn't show. I'm not worried about that. I'm absolutely not worried about that, because I have an idea for what I'm wanting to do. So, but I would suggest, if you don't want anything to show through your fabric, a darker fabric, or definitely paint the chipboard first. Maybe even color it a different way. I don't really know. You could dye it actually and let it dry, but I just think that when you add heat and bond, it's going to come through the fabric, so I just don't. So that's why I planned what I'm going to do to my spine and my cover, so that if, you know, my tie back won't show. Probably the easiest thing to do would be to dye your tie back. But it does look like this is on there pretty good. Exactly the way I was needing it to be. Let's do a little tester here. So yeah, we can see that we just need to definitely get up there in them corners. Yes, yes, yes. I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. All right, behave and don't be mean. Gonna go right along the spine, right along the edges. The edges are probably your most critical. That is why I wanted to do corner metal pieces, is to help hold it in place with glue in case it would want to come apart. But I love the vintage look, so I'm honestly thinking about edging this to where it'll fray. I just don't know yet. We'll see. Okay, my friends, so I think that this is good. Let's set the iron over here. Ooh, and it is a spitting. Yes, it is. So, I'm going to be taking my scissors and trimming this completely even. So just hang tight. Here. And get this right here. Ooh, dropping everything. It's getting late. Oops. Oh, I cut it to where it did that. Ugh. That's alright. We'll work with it. We will work with it. It's a little difficult. Most people would want to fold it over. I just don't want to. I'm after a certain look, and I know what I'm going for, so that's why I'm doing my project this way, and it's why I'm showing it on camera this way, is because in case you want to achieve the same look. Okay. Tater Tot, you okay? I hear my puppy in there coughing. How did I not have the fabric? Sorry if I'm off camera. This is a little difficult to do on camera. Sorry. It just is. Y'all gonna be like, she is tearing this up. I'm not. I know exactly the way I want it to go, and I'm gonna be happy with it. Don't you worry. Trying not to damage my fabric scissors on the side of this chipboard. Because once it cuts something other than fabric, it's no good to go. Not on fabric anymore. And I think they just did it, so. These will now be paper scissors. Oh yeah, they did. It'd be alright. Now, if you don't want yours to fray, you can definitely put fray stop on the edges. You can burn it with a lighter, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. But I do like a little teeny bit of jaggedness, and just trying to trim it even to the chipboard gives just enough to where it looks, you know, that vintage look, like it's a little jagged, but not too much. You really don't want too much because it could, in time, the more you use it, start to fray past what you want. But like I said, you can put fray stop on it, and if it was to do that later, you could definitely make sure it doesn't. Fabri-Tac, a little bit of Fabri-Tac on your hand or finger, and spread it underneath, you know, where your fabric may let go, and you'll be good to go there. Oh, I'm loving this. This looks kind of vintagey, little shabby. I got some little jaggedness. Okay, I don't want it that jagged. Alright. Okay, so what I am going to do is, even though I know it is glued and it is secure, I'm going to go back over it again because I can actually see my edges much better and know that I'm on them. It's a little tedious, but the finished look comes out so cute and very unique. And I just think it adds a lot to the project when you do it like this instead of just paper. I mean, you know, to each their own, but I just really think it turns out so pretty. And like I said, I am not going the wraparound style. I'm not doing that. That's not the look I'm going for. It's definitely not. Okay. So before we go to putting down the adhesive on the inside, okay, we've got to think about a couple of things. We've got to think about how we're going to make it close. And I can see. There we go. All right, so we're going to need to take a lighter. And just, this is the quickest way to seal it from, you know, fraying too much before I put fray check on it later, because I will. Yep. Alright, so this will work while we're working with it to hold it from fraying until when I'm basically completed with what I'm wanting to do, and we know that we need to put, you know, fray check all along the edges. So we can still work with it at the moment, because you do have to wait for fray check to dry, and I'm not in the mood. So basically, this piece of fabric is going to go on here, and I'm going to jagged it up just right too. Oh, I'm loving this. You know, if you really, really wanted to, I really guess, you could double up the fabric. I mean, would you still see the spine? No, but you'd see the print just through this. I might double the fabric on the outside cover. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that's the way I want to go. But you can still kind of see the tie back, right? So I don't know. Decisions. I'll think about it. But this could be the inside. I said this was supposed to be the back. Cool. So let's do that. Let's do that, Joker. Let's put another strip of tie back right here. Let's actually cover it all in tie back. That way it's white in here, and the inside cover, by the time you put the booklets in there, you're not going to see any of this. No, you're not. And you put some stuff. Yeah. Okay, so on the back side, I'm going to cover this all in tie back, so that way when I lay my fabric down, I don't see, you know, white versus the dark. I hope that makes sense. So just hang tight and let me do that. Now, we've got our tie back in here. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and iron on our, now don't throw away tie back. Tie back is precious. We're going to go ahead and iron on our Ultra Bond, heat and bond. So that's what we're going to do next. Where's my piece? That's the piece I cut and used. Yeah, it's getting late. I need to call it after this part and start again tomorrow. Okay. It's a good thing I checked, because I'd have been mad. I would have redid it, though, I'm not gonna lie to you. Something like that, I would definitely redo it. And if you get a wrinkle in your fabric, you can easily lift it up before it's completely down and smooth out your wrinkle. And the longer you iron it, honestly, the better it holds. No joke. Let's see. And like I said, I'm not worried about it being perfectly straight. It's kind of not what I'm after. I'm after that little shabby chic vintage look. And that's why I like doing it this way. I mean, we all have, well, most crafters have, sorry guys, the bunny is out here for a late night visit. He knows Tater can't get outside, and he's teasing him. It's an all black bunny. Somebody let their their pet bunny go wild. He has been adopted by the local bunny den. And we have named him Bunnicula since he's all black, like that children's book. And Tater hates Bunnicula because Bunnicula is not afraid of anybody. He's not a wild rabbit. He likes people. I think they had a dog wherever Bunnicula originally was. And so he thinks it's a game to tease Tater that he can't come outside and chase him, which is hysterical. Because Tater is very bent out of shape about it, guys. Trust me. He's very upset about it. Alright. Come on. Alright. That's frayed. That's what I want. Okay. Very frayed. Yes! It's look at all the frays. I love it. Alright, so let's get this side like that. I should have did this on the inside. Because this actually did it exactly the way I wanted it. Oh well. You live, you learn, you get loves, right? Now, you could fold it over using the Ultra Bond and cover your spine and covers exactly like you would with cardstock if you are not looking for this frayed, shabby look. But I just think it adds a lot to it. Okay, so basically what I'm going to have to do is go back with my lighter, and overnight I'll have this curing with some fray check to make sure it doesn't go any more than it already is. Because I do like it, but I don't want it to go, like, you know, all the way down my book. I don't want that. Alright, so, where is that lighter? I got a better lighter here. This other one's just, they seem to burn my hand so fast. Wait a minute. I see a piece right there I don't want. I don't want too much exposed. Okay. Alright, so... just gonna, and I don't mind the little burn mark on it if it gets it, although it didn't. That one's out too far. You don't want it too far because then the material is going to absolutely catch and it will burn. That's not what you're after. You're just after, like, just seal the ends. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, more like that. Okay. And you can see where it's catching the little fibers, but it's not going any further. You know what I mean? So I think it looks super good that way. Okay. It's almost like an inking too. If it did it, if it were to burn it just enough, it'd be almost like it inked it. Let's see if I can get it to do it. Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't really seem that. This lighter's getting hot. It's burning my hand. Yes, it is. That is so cool. Ow! God! Woof! That was hot. That was hot. That was hot. Be very careful, my friends. Be very careful. This mess is hot. I wonder where they're going tonight with all the fire trucks. Oh, okay, so we're going to move this. I'll shake that in my trash can in a few minutes. So this is what we have. This is absolutely the front. And as you can see, here are the tops. It is cut very close to it. I might even ink it. But I really love the way this turned out. Ugh, okay. That was a long fray. I don't want that. It's so hot. Can't even spark it. It's so hot. That's pretty cool. Alright, so anyway, that's what we got so far, guys. What do y'all think? Nice big old book. You could turn it this way if you really, really wanted to, you know, but you would see the tie back. But I like it this way a lot. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, so basically what we're going to want to do is mark a hole. Gonna mark this hole. Let's see. Let's put a dead center. Let's go ahead and do that. Let me unplug my iron. And I'll use this up while it's still hot to go back over my edges super quick. I mean, no harm in that, right? not while it's just cooling down. Just go back over my edges real quick. Inside and out. Ooh, hot water spitting. Hot water spitting. But I do love my little iron, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is like just the right size for crafting. It really is. Alright, so I'm gonna wrap up my iron here and let it cool on my floor beside of me. No, I'm not, because I have puppies in the room. That would be horrendous. Ooh, just the thought of that just gave me the heebie-jeebies. Alright, so we're gonna put this down on this line, and we're gonna go back 1 notch so that we can see these lines in the middle. This is a 9-inch book, so we're gonna want to mark at 4.5, and we're gonna want that. All right, so that is where we are at the moment. When I get this hole punched, I will be able to add something straight through to be able to know exactly where I want to punch on that. Actually, let's just go ahead and do it the same way very much. Okay, let's get it up on the line. Okay. Let's see, about right there. Alright, so let me just get my grommet tools and we'll put our door knocker and thing in there and hang tight. Okay, so it is the next morning. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this little tool, okay, and I'm gonna punch a hole in here, and we're going to set the eyelets. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm able to punch this hole. Okay, so you punch the hole with this part of the tool. I was like, come on now, because it has been a long time since I used this. So what I'm gonna do is go from the outside in to my hole. Actually, probably need to go in here because I can't see it on the outside. And we can trim it up and make it look right. So I'm gonna stick this in here. Well, it doesn't want to go where I bopped my hole. So I'm gonna line it up completely over the edge and pop that hole. So it's gonna be a lot closer to the edge than I had thought. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set an eyelet in here real quick. Okay. What am I doing? We only need 2. We only need 2. We only need 2. I am gonna try putting one of these pieces on the inside and the outside, just to get it be a lot cleaner. Now, you guys, I am not an eyelet person. It is absolutely not something I normally do. So basically, I'm gonna put the pretty part on the outside back cover. I'm gonna pop that through the hole. I'm gonna set this spacer. Is there a correct way to do it? I think it is like that. We shall see. I'm gonna slide it around there, and I'm gonna take this part of the tool. Alright, so it looks like that part's gonna hold this, and this part is there, and basically the premise is you just smash it to make it hold correctly, I believe. Okay, and it looks like, yep, I got my eyelet in. Super nice. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is taking that piece of elastic. Now, where did it go? And I'll show you how easily it secures its own self. So we're going to take both of these, and we are going to thread them through the little hole. Okay, and the second piece. And then we just pull tight, and as you can see, the 2 pieces of metal, you know, come straight up in. And I do have that little hole where I popped it, but it's okay, because I am actually going to be, putting a pocket on here. So I don't think we're going to see anything hole-wise. So it's out the back. Okay, now, we need to come over here and we need to pop this hole. Ooh. Okay, so we're going to get this lined up just like we did the other one. And we're going to pop this hole. There we go. Okay. Now we are not going to be putting an eyelet on this part because we're going to be putting a door knocker. And I can see that I need to secure this a little bit better before I get my fray check out. Because I'm going to let this dry today before I start the decorating and the other parts. So yeah. I do think what I'm going to do is set eyelets up here for my threads to go through. And on a 3-inch, how much should these measure basically? Whew. They're about 1/4 of an inch. So if I was to do it, let's start on the one line. Let's stick one there. I just want to see how many booklets I can get in here if I were to use eyelets to thread them. Now, of course, you can always use jump bands or whatever it is to get more. But my goal is to get 6. I would really like this book to hold 6. Okay. So if we came in here, let's see. Yeah, we don't want it completely to the edge. Yeah, I think I can get 6 across here. That's good. That's good enough. Okay, so let me get my doorknob real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to show you the way I do it. Don't laugh. I don't generally keep tools in my studio. So you're going to put, like screwdrivers and things. So you're going to put your little backing screw in here, as you can see. Okay. I don't know if it's showing up. Ooh. So you got that. And don't worry about that little punched hole. I will be able to take care of that. So basically what I'm going to be doing is this is a little doorpost, right? And it looks like a little tiny doorknob. Some people call them hitch posts. So I'm just going to sit it on the screw and I'm going to start screwing it down, right? Get it as tight as I can. And then I'll show you what tool I use in my office just to make sure it's super tight. Okay, so I pretty much got it. Okay, so I just take one of my little spatulas here, I stick it right in the straight line, and then I really just tighten it. Later, I will go into Dave's room and snag some tools and actually use a true flathead screwdriver to get it tight, but this always works. Okay, so let's just tighten. There we go. It's as tight as it can be. So this is the outside. So these right here will definitely hold it. So I could always take some of the dyed string and make sure I can tie it even longer and just have a knot in here in the back, and that's actually perfectly fine. I do want it to be as wide as possible, so I'm thinking that's what we're gonna do. I do need to get this a little bit tighter. Oh, okay, that's as tight as it's gonna go. So that's cool that it's in there. I just think this, even though this is set up really to work with me, there's 2 things about it I don't, well, a couple of things. It's silver hardware on the end. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about the black. So I will be dyeing the elastic that I'm gonna be using to attach the booklets the same way, tying a knot and threading it through here. That way I have as much give as I want. So let's go ahead and get on the corner pieces up here. And then we will also go ahead and mark, make a template to put these eyelets in down here perfectly for what we're doing. I am thinking that I'm just going to go with the sizing that's automatically, you know, done in the book, the tool itself. And just allow it to, that's the piece that I punched through. Come here. This is the chipboard and the fabric and all that good stuff. Tie back. All right, popped her. Always want to make sure that's out of your way, so when you go to potch it. So I'm going to go with the sizing it has where the end of the book. The cover will end right here. I'll put it in flush. So it will be close to, let's go ahead and measure that. It would be close to a 1/4 of an inch down for the holes for the eyelets. So that's actually pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get the hardware on the corners. Yep. And it's just those little corner pieces I was showing you. I'm going to be attaching it with Fabri-Tac because Fabri-Tac works wonders. It loves to glue on metal. It has no problem with it. So we have one for all 4 corners. I have been looking at the center of my cover. I was looking at overnight while it was drying. I could literally cut some fabric like in a solid color and do something here like break it up. And I'm actually thinking about making some, when I make my pockets to go here, I am actually thinking about, what do you call it? Using the Ultra Bond to put on the solid color fabric and this pattern fabric and like make layered pockets that have fabric as well instead of cardstock. I kind of like that idea. So this part, always clean your glue off when it's Fabri-Tac. You just want to, you know, get some glue nicely on your corners and just secure them down. That's all you got to do. You could take jewelry pliers and smash them, the plier part, or you could just leave it there. I'm just going to, as soon as the Fabri-Tac comes all the way down to the bottom, just going to stick it right on the edge here. Instead of having so much glue sploosh out, I find it easier to do it this way and then just slide my corner pieces on like so. Like I said, you could take jewelry pliers and really smash it, but I don't feel like it's needed. This also helps for, keeping the corners from coming up later with so much use, you know, daily use on the cover. Now, when I journal in here, I have every intention of taking the booklet out of the elastic and then putting it back in when I'm done. And the way I'm decorating this, I want it to be able to hold, you know, just any books in here that I would like. It's like it's reusable. I can constantly pull out notebooks and put more in. I want to use this, I think, with my Bible journaling kits, or I might be using them with my new stickers called DIY journal sheets. So yeah, I just basically want the cover to be its own theme, and then the booklets can be interchangeable as much as I want. Okay, so I got a little bit of glue sploosh. Whoops. It did not go over. Okay. I see right here where it came up. And this is Fabri-Tac, and it does glue fabric very nicely. Hold it for as long as you want it to hold it. Okay, so there we go. All right. Okay, and then we just need to put one more on. I use a generous amount of glue because as it seals, it hardens really nicely, and I love Fabri-Tac. It's worth the price of that glue. I cannot stress to you how nice this glue is. It will, when you are layering cardstock, it will actually harden it and make it more secure. For those who don't like to use chipboard, this is a wonderful glue to make your surface very, very secure. Want that small piece to tuck back in there. It keeps coming up. And just, you know, it's not perfect. It's homemade. And that's the point of it. So, you can see where I'm definitely going to have to put a fray check on this today. But it's okay. We are working with it. I really do like the phrase. I'm sorry, I do, guys. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the front of it. Whoops. I just knocked that corner off. Did I really? I'm a Dorkosaurus. That's definitely something I'm going to do. Alright. Okay, so they are on very, very secure. We have our door hinge. Let's just spray that up a little tiny bit. I'm really liking this. So we have our corners on. Super, super pretty. Front and back. We have the eyelet in here. Ooh, I can see all kinds of rays. Where is that lighter? All right. Yeah, we're going to have ray check on this today while it's setting. Oh, it's so pretty already. So as you can see, this will be a beast. It really, really will. It's going to hold everything you want, a whole bunch of notebooks. I mean, you could do six months worth of Bible studies in here in these notebooks. This would be really cool. All right, so like I said, thinking about lining this part, just don't know yet. And on the front, as you can see, we see our eyelet, we see our door hinge. These are down all the way. Let's go ahead and think about covering up that area. Some of these metal pieces where I'm going to be attaching my flowers. Okay. So I do have to dye my flowers, but in the meantime, I can look at these and see, like, you know, where they're going to be. Let me go ahead and cut this fabric. Basically, all you want to do is just cut around the foam. I mean, the felt. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. And you'll be using hot glue or fabric. I would suggest Fabri-Tac. Fabri-Tac on top of fabric is just going to be amazing. It's going to hold super secure. I would trust that over hot glue, but that's just me. Okay. And then we have, whoops, I do not want to cut that tag off with those scissors. No, I don't. Okay, let me get my trash out my way. So, once these are dyed, I would have them somewhat like that. Yeah, I think it's super pretty. Got a little bit of metal showing, you know. So I think I would need to come over, probably angle this like in this direction. That's what I'm gonna wanna do. And I'm gonna wanna probably come down for that. So let's stick that back there, because I pretty much know exactly this is the way I want it. So I have just a little bit of metal showing around the flowers once they're dyed. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is, since it needs to dry today, I am gonna go ahead and put down my metal. Alright. Like I said, Fabri-Tac really does like metal. Woo! Except when it has a lot of air bubbles. That's the one thing it likes to do, is when you set it up, it likes to sploosh out. But like I said, you can't beat this glue, guys. The only thing I have found that Fabri-Tac does not like to work on is plastic. Like if you're wanting to glue tabs to page protectors, and the reason I say that is because that is literally, alright, where'd I put it? I felt it. That is literally something I tried to do. It doesn't really respond well to it. So let's put this like in that area to help me remember where it was. So in the next part of the video, we'll make a template to put in our eyelets, and we will dye the flowers and the elastic string. We will thread it through, and we will finish decorating the cover and the spine. And that will be part 2 of the video. Part 3, we'll go ahead and make some pockets for the inside and back cover, and we will put down the flowers, and we'll cover a couple of notebooks. So yeah, video should be done in the next 2 parts. But I just think this is a neat project, and it's a different way of making a TN journal, you know? I mean, you can get just about everything I'm using at Walmart. I did get these items on Amazon. I just typed in metal filigree pieces, and they come up. The door knockers on there, they are a thing that Tim Holtz was doing, and you would only get like 9 or 12. Amazon, you can get like a set of 20. So, of course, I bought Amazon's. brand for it. There's several other sellers who sell it too. So even though this looks really wonky and spaced out, the truth is we just tested our flowers in their placement and we know where they're going. So yeah, I think that this is a perfect area to go ahead and stop the video for while it is drying. And I'm going to go ahead and get some spray check one here and let it sit all day. So we'll come back tomorrow and we'll look at the next part.